People often look at the Papuan people and they say, wow, these people are so fierce at times. They're hard to understand at times. And they are certainly very, very different. But when you stop to spend some time and understand these people, you will find them to be some of the most unique, some of the most wonderful, some of the most beautiful people you will ever find. I am so grateful for the fact that my missionary mom and dad adopted me when I was less than 2 years old. They brought me to Papua, and I've been living there ever since I was 2 years old. My first language was actually Moni, one of the tribal languages spoken in that area. And it has just been a lifetime experience living with these people and having them share their culture with me, and me understanding and becoming who I am because of living with them. During my time living and working in Papua, one of the exciting things has been helping many different areas build airstrips. I wasn't surprised when in 2003 the people from the Zombandoga Valley, a remote area from Pogapa, showed up and they said, "John, we have seen what these airstrips do in some of these other areas, and we want you to help us build an airstrip. Would you do that?" Airstrips can be a very unique and difficult kind of a situation. They have their pluses and their minuses, and so I said, if you all are really serious about this, let's sit down and talk about it. You already know what the pluses are. You're going to have better medical help. You're going to have teachers that will be willing to come in here. On the downside, once that airstrip is open, anybody can come into your area and you're really not going to be able to control it. And you know, it's going to be a long process, years of work, working for free. This is going to be your baby. It is going to be your responsibility to see this thing through. Is that something you want to do? After 10 years of back-breaking labor, where these people faced hunger, they faced epidemics, they faced tribal war, they finished this airstrip, and on November 9th, 2013, over 2,000 Monis got together, had this blowout party, and this was the day that they celebrated the fact that 10 years ago they started something and they accomplished it. They did the impossible. The morning of the celebration, we met in Pogapa. This is our plane, you guys. Ultimately, we're going to trek through the jungle, and that would have taken 5 hours. But instead, the group decided to fly so that we could have much more time celebrating and being with the people. And that only took 5 minutes.
5 minutes has replaced 5 hours. And as a geologist, having spent a lot of my life walking through terrain like this, looking for gold, the difference between 5 hours and 5 minutes is huge. That, to me, is the main impact of this history.
When John Cutts invited me, I had no idea what to expect. I knew that it would be a different experience. I knew it was in a remote area. But we flew in on our plane, and this, first of all, the landing strip, we look at it, it's on a 45-degree angle going straight uphill. And I'm thinking, okay, well, the pilot knows what he's doing. We land on this thing, but up and down the landing strip, there are people, over 1,000 people, 2,000 people, lined up, holding spears, holding bow and arrows. I had no idea that this particular day, this experience, was going to change my life.
Finally, the day has arrived when the planes are going to be able to land. They're going to kill probably over 100 pigs, and it's just going to be one giant feast. We're going to just sit and we're going to hang out with the people. We're going to experience their culture, and we're going to eat like kings. I mean, this is some of the best food that you could ever taste.
Pigs everywhere, people everywhere. One of the natives takes his bow, shoots a pig. The pig freaks out, breaks the string, and starts running. And what looked like a bunch of chaos. People running around, people dancing, hooting and hollering everywhere, and yet there was so much organization.
Everybody has their specific task to do. There are those who are going to be digging, there are those bringing rocks, there are those bringing all the food, the vegetation. Everything has to be coordinated, and it really runs like clockwork. They start off by different groups digging these big holes in the ground. And then there are others heating all of the hot rocks off to the side. And then they begin to line the pits. They bring in the hot rocks. They line it with food, another layer. And then on top of that is the pig. And then it's all covered over, and it becomes like a giant pressure cooker in the middle of the jungle. Normally we would have been eating by about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The food from the pit would have been cooked. But suddenly as we sat there, we heard a huge helicopter coming. And he landed right in the middle. The main government official got off, and everything stopped because they wanted to be sure and honor this government official. And he was there to actually congratulate them for what they had accomplished. 10 years of very difficult work. All of the villages got together, and they elected one spokesperson that would speak to the government, and they had him purposely black to represent the dark situation they all live in. And he had a list of all of the things that still remain to be done, and he is to pass this list on to the government official and say, if you want to help us, here are the things that you need to think about. As soon as the helicopter took off in a cloud of dust, the people immediately went back to all of the different jobs they had going to try to finish feeding 2,000 people that were waiting there.
Costume, the color, the dancing. The way the dancing was coordinated, the movement, coming together and a fantastic landscape. You have this backdrop of the mountains, and the sky, and these people. They seem part of the whole landscape, celebrating something that they've made. Planes being there, and just the whole feeling of something unique taking place. It was quite something.
This massive helicopter was there that swirled around, spun up grass, and all sorts of excitement around it. There was a feeling of optimism in the air by these people through the feast and excitement. They knew that this airstrip and this day, their village would never be the same.
This was a huge day in the lives of the Zombandoga people. It's something that they will be talking about around their cooking fires for years to come. Because it's a day that they put aside their tribal differences, they put aside their tribal wars, and together they took one giant step in the direction of building a brighter future for their families as well as for their children.